Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Buck Roll. All right, it's day 2 being back to work, and I still am grateful that I have a job and got a place to go every day. I'm learning new things on a daily basis, which kind of keeps everything interesting. They're kind of getting to the point now where they have a little bit of faith in me, where they'll actually have the trainer and the lead and the whole thing leave the room and basically let me just kind of run the machine on my own. I'm learning more about some of the background stuff. We've been the first couple of days have been just focusing on learning the basic operation of the machine, but now I'm starting to get a little bit more into the guts of it and a little bit more into the paperwork, which of course can be a little bit tedious, but it's something that's got to be done. You got to track production yields and all that fun stuff, and I'm starting to learn how to do that and learning a little bit about how to trace the parts through the machine. I can't go into a whole bunch of detail, but the parts are manufactured, and there's a whole bunch of things that are manufactured all at once in kind of a bulk environment. And I'm kind of learning a little bit how to trace the individual components that I'm making back through the machine to their original source. And it's really, really detailed, and there's a lot of things to learn, but I'm getting there. I'm making progress, and I seem to be kind of impressing the people who are doing the training and who are my leads and all that. So that's a good thing. That's always to be encouraged, because if I can impress the people who are training me, then obviously that's going to work its way back to the boss, and the boss is going to be happy. And so far the boss has been very positive to me and seems to think things are going well, and is just basically letting me kind of figure this stuff out as I go along. Now, one of the things that I learned today is that there are multiple machines that actually manufacture the product that we manufacture. And I mean, I knew that before. There's multiple lines that do all the stuff, but I found out today that the machine that I've been working on lately, or for the most part, is one of the older machines in the facility. And ultimately that might sound like kind of a pain in the neck, and it has been a little bit. In the end of the day, I think, once I've got this machine handled and know all the bugs and all the quirks that come with it, then it's just going to make it easier to move on to the other machines that are a little newer and work a little better. Now, one of the problems that we've been having for the last, few days or so is that this machine has a lot of mechanical problems. And you think you deal with one problem, and then another one creeps up. And the problem that crept up yesterday was one where the product was kind of getting jammed up in the machine. And it was happening a lot too. It was happening every few minutes. So we'd run for a couple minutes, and then the line would shut down because something got jammed, and we'd get the jam cleared, and then it'd run for another couple minutes, and then it'd get jammed up again. And I was thinking, what? The company is actually really having their yield suffer a little bit by allowing this to happen, and by not just because I can look at the machine, I can see exactly what's happening. And it seems like it would be a really simple thing to fix. Well, finally today, about 10 or 11 o'clock, one of the technicians, I guess the lead or the trainer that was in there had finally had enough, and she called one of the technicians in and said, we got to get this fixed, because we've been getting 30-40% yield, which is ridiculously bad. We have certain production standards that we're supposed to keep every day, and we're making 30 or 40% of what we should be, because this machine is down all the time. And of course, when it's down, then all the parts that are upstream that are going into this part of the machine, they end up being destroyed, because once any part of the line shuts down, the whole line shuts down. Well, fortunately today, about 10 or 11 o'clock, like I said, they got a technician in, and the technician worked on the machine for, 20 or 30 minutes. And once he got it figured out, and got that jamming problem solved, the machine just operated like a top for the rest of the day. And we got just amazing production yields for the rest of the day. And it was really, really kind of rewarding to be in there working, because now, we're working as hard as we can to keep up with the machine, because, the machine is putting out components, and then we have to process the components after the machine manufactures them. And at that point, we kind of became the bottleneck. And so, that's one of the things I like about a job, is a job that keeps you busy. I sometimes have problems staying busy if there's nothing to do. I think that's a big part of the reason why I didn't do well in some of my earlier jobs. I worked at a veterinarian right out of high school, and actually worked at 3 different veterinarians, and I lasted about 6 months and I got fired in each one of them. Because 1, I hadn't developed my work ethic, and 2, even then I had problems. If there's nothing to do, what do? I can't just make myself look busy. But if there's a lot to do, I have no problem keeping busy. And today is one of those days. I actually was sweating today. It was working so hard. So, that's definitely another thing that I like about about this job, is that there's something to do, and when you're busy, the day just flies by. It's like, if I was 3-4 hours into it and say, oh yeah, you haven't taken a break yet. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I probably should go take one. And then I got back and worked a little bit more. It's like, okay, well, you probably should take a lunch break now. It's like, yeah, I probably should. We're in the middle of the day now. And, they had to keep reminding me to go on breaks, because the time was just flying by so fast that, I would lose track of time. And it's like, oh yeah, so here we are, 12 hours later, and the day's done already. So I think I still believe this is going to be a job that I'm going to like. I'm getting positive feedback from everyone I'm talking to about it. And so, yeah, I think things are moving along well. I actually talked to my manager a little bit yesterday, and he apologized for not sitting down with me and having kind of a one-on-one conversation just to figure out how things are going. And I said, that's not a problem. You're busy. You got a lot of things going on. We got this whole virus thing, which is making everything crazy. And we got people on quarantine and all these new policies. And we're just coming out of a maintenance cycle. And then, we're doing full production runs and all this stuff. So, I don't really blame him for, not sitting down with me personally and having a one-on-one conversation. I also kind of let him know why it was that I ended up on quarantine. I hadn't told anyone about my father, and I made it until yesterday without anyone knowing. I kind of met him in the hall at one point and said, I wanted to talk to you a little bit, because I've been kind of keeping something to myself, because I didn't want it to be influencing my job, but because it has sort of influenced the job, because now I've been on quarantine, for 2 weeks. That's something that affected the company that I felt he deserved to know. And so I kind of shared with him that, and he says, oh, well, when did that happen? And it's like, well, my father passed away the day before I started, and I was in California for the funeral, and that was why I was there. I wanted to make sure he understood, that I just didn't take some, irresponsible trip in the middle of a pandemic, that could put the company at risk, for no reason, that there was actually a good reason for me being there. And he started saying, well, you are actually entitled to like a bereavement time. And it's like, yeah, I know. And I probably could have done that. But, like I said, I'm really new on the job, and I don't want to be making a bunch of excuses right now why I'm not going to work. And so I did everything I could to, make it not impact the job at all. I came in the first week and did my orientation. Nobody even knew what had happened. And we scheduled the funeral so I could work around my job, so I could do it on my weekend and not affect the job. And like I said, if it hadn't been for this whole silly virus thing, they never even would have found out about it. And I tell my boss, that was really what I wanted. I'm not looking for sympathy. I don't want you having to give me a bunch of time off because, all these weird things are going on and all that. And I didn't want it to impact the job, at least not this early. And he says, yeah, I know, I understand, but you are still entitled to bereavement. And I said, well, I did it intentionally on my weekend, so it wouldn't affect pay or anything like that. But if you feel that from a bookkeeping standpoint, it makes sense to charge the money that I got during the quarantine to bereavement rather than any of the rest of the stuff, that's fine. But I just wanted you to know that it wasn't some frivolous trip that I took to California, that there was a good reason for it. And just want to make sure that he understands that I'm really serious about this job and want it to work out for me and for the company. So I think that was a good move to make. I continue to have a good relationship with the boss, and it helps, I think, to understand a little bit what's going on. And so things are proceeding really well. So I really think that's about all that I have for today. Like I say, all that's going on these days is the job. So, when I get home and time to do the vlog, all I can really do is talk about the job. And I really can't even talk that much about the job because I can't really tell you a whole lot what I'm doing. So I hope you understand that. But some of these videos on work days may be a little boring, especially as we go forward. So hope you understand that. Tomorrow is my last day before my weekend again, and so we're going to try and do some fun stuff on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and then I go back for my long week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week. So I don't know what's going to go on right now this week because they're predicting rain all week this week, but it was supposed to rain all day today, and I don't think it rained at all. I think the storms kind of missed us. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see if we can get out and do some stuff, and we'll go from there. So anyway, like I said, I think that's about all I have to talk about today. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.